Yes? Okay. All right. Welcome to our regular meeting council on August 25th. Everyone has the agenda before them. Can I have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented? Councillor King, and seconded by Councillor Windsor. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Sorry, I was grabbing a pen. Okay, adoption of the minutes. The minutes were sent out in our package, so all councillors should have had time to read and check over the meetings of all the committees. Was there any errors or omissions? Minutes? No? Adopt or table the minutes as presented, and business arising from minutes. Nothing. Hey, mayor's update. So there's a couple of things, of course. First, we want to send out a huge congratulations to our fellow councillor, Sandra Crawley, and her family, who welcomed a new little baby girl into their family this week. So congratulations. See, this is why she's not attending the meeting tonight. We would never expect that. So congratulations to all. And Councillor Tilley, unfortunately, couldn't be with us tonight as well for personal reasons. So as the summer winds down, just want to take a moment to provide an update on some key operations. Of course, everything first and foremost in everyone's mind is the water infrastructure and the recent restrictions. So we really, really want to stress to residents, thank you. A big, big thank you to your patience and your understanding while we work through this process. You know, we understand there is significant frustration. People are coming home from work, people are getting up in the morning, they can't take showers, can't do laundry, can't do their dishes, and it is very frustrating. On the other side of that, we have to be very grateful for our staff, public works staff, CAO Marjorie Gibbons and Director Robert Stacey, who have worked nights upon nights upon nights upon nights. Trying to work this problem out. They've been away from their family, they've been away from their friends, they've missed appointments. So, I mean, we have to look at the bigger picture. They're there to try to provide a reliable system. And right now we are running into issues with our water system. So once things are, back to normal, I should put quotes around normal because there is no normal. But once things have settled down and our tank is starting to gain again, then we will be debriefed again. Council has been debriefed and we will look at it again. We'll look at lessons learned, etc. And infrastructure and public works will talk more about that. Things we're picking up on, and then we will share that as it comes. I know some people have reached out saying what's happening and why is this happening, and we have been upfront consistently saying we are having water loss. So we are upfront. We're not trying to hide anything. We're not pulling the wool over anyone's eyes or anything like that. We've said from the beginning, this is why we're putting in conservation mode and then a water restriction. We're having water loss. We got to find out where it is. So it has been a challenging month, to say the least. We had the water restrictions. We've had the leak detection, night maintenance. We've had repair work. And of course, just to bring attention to August 12th, we had a special meeting called to order, and it was fairly quick. However, if you were not able to tune in to our meeting or look online afterwards, it was to actually make the motion to adopt the funds and award them to Griterio for building our tank and putting up the pad and bringing our new well online. So that was the federal and provincial funds that were offered to us. We had an extension. We had additional funds put in towards it. We had to allocate them a little bit differently than we said first. So therefore, we needed that special meeting, all in the timeliness of it. So the sole focus of this meeting was to formally address that long-term water storage security. That's what we're trying to do here. So again, it's a little frustrating. People say, what are you doing up there? How come you're not doing anything about it? We are. Please understand we are. We understand this. And of course, other summer maintenance, ditch draining, asphalt upgrades, all that still has to keep going as well. So we want to thank our municipal workers, the utility crews, for working through those late hours and overnights and performing those maintenance during the shutoffs. And further progress will be forthcoming. So we thank again everyone. And that's it for my mayor's update. All right, correspondence is reflected through committees now, so it'll be adopted and responded to through our committees, especially our communications committee. Planning and development. Is that you, Councillor King? Planning and development.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Last year we had fire. This year we had water. I can't wait for next year when we get to the pestilence.
I was thinking locusts, yeah.
The hordes. Anyway. But anyway, for planning and development, we had our meeting via Zoom on August the 19th. My Councillor Winsler, the Mayor, our CAO, Marjorie Gibbons, Robert Stacey, and regrets from Krista Turnbull and myself were there. And it was a very interesting meeting, and we covered a lot of as you will see as we move forward. But one of the things I want to discuss before we move on to all the motions is points to consider when you decide to build a home. So there's a lot of factors involved that people probably don't realize, because one of the things is the zoning laws. Where you're building a house, is it in the proper zoning area with the ideas that you want to build your home and all these types of things? So that's one of the things that you should check out is zoning. Is it residential? Is it mixed? Is it commercial or whatever? A proper survey. There's been lots of incidents over the years where people have built something only to find that you're putting it on someone else's land, or your shed is 2 or 3 feet in someone else's property and stuff like that. So that has a very negative effect on whether you can buy something or whether you can sell something. And I'm sure, like Councillor Story, who's a real estate agent, probably have ran into some of these things over the years, right? Utilities. Are you planning on having your own well, water and sewer, or are you going to be on town water? Right. So, and the other one is the site condition of the land itself that you're going to build on. What is the land? What is it beneath the surface? Is it? And here in Holyrood, we have a lot of places where there's bog, right? So you really shouldn't be building your house on a bog. And a lot of places here over the past couple of years, down in the area where I am, there's places down there where they had to go down as far as 4 and 5 feet to dig all the bog out and replace it with rock and stone and everything else to make the site sustainable and solid. So all these points need to be taken into consideration prior to you putting in your application here for a permit to build a house. And a lot of these times, if you ask people in this building, whether you ask the CAO or the Director of Public Works or the staff, these people have most of the answers. And if they don't have the answer, I'm sure they'd be more than happy to go find you the answer. So there's a lot of things to consider on that. So anyway, without further ado, unless Councillor Windsor has anything to add,
no, sir.
I will get to the business at hand. Okay, the first one will be the permits list. Be it resolved, the table and approve the attached permits list. 27 permits were issued from July 24, 2026 to August 19, 2026. Permit 07-0068-26 to 080094-26. And it includes permits for garages, general repairs, occupancy, residential footings, culvert installation, sheds, a chapel, and exit entrance enclosure residential. So moved.
Moved by Councillor King, seconded by Deputy Mayor Woodford. Any further discussion? General permits, additional time. Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carried.
The next one is located at 48 Woodford Station. It's a proposed residential build. It is RLD2, which is residential light development, and it's basically like single family dwellings or duplexes, something like that. It is town water and sewer. Be it resolved that the Town of Holyrood approve the above application in principle under Regulation 10 of the town's municipal plan and development regulations. So moved.
Moved by Councillor King, seconded by Councillor Windsor. Further discussion? Does anyone want to explain why we had to use discretionary 10?
Yes. Discretionary, what can we just go back there?
Regulation 10? Yes, yeah, Regulation 10.
Because in this particular case here, there was a house there before, right? And we've already, I think in our last public meeting, we ran into the exact same thing. So basically what they're doing, they're removing the old structure that was there, and they're going to build a new structure in that same location. So the water and sewer is there, just basically you got to rehook it back up.
Yeah, and because the zone changed in between when it was originally built and now,
Yeah.
So it doesn't meet today's current regulations, right?
yes, but
Yeah.
by very little.
Yeah.
You know, in terms
So
of
that
it's
was
already
why
there.
that was why we used Regulation 10, because it makes
makes sense.
perfect sense.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there was a house there. They're putting another house there. It's really not going to change anything there. It's in the area. They're not building anything other than basically the same type of home that was there to replace the old one.
Much of the footprint, are they?
No.
A little bit of footprint, but it doesn't impede services.
Other than
Yeah,
But it doesn't really change.
it
very
doesn't
much.
impede services, garbage
No.
collection, snow
No.
clearing, or anything like that. So that's why Regulation 10 was put forward. Just want to give all the, yep.
You are correct,
Councillor
Mayor
Windsor?
and Councillor King. So just one thing we'll add on that, you know, as a continuous improvement measure or lesson learned. And you mentioned there's been a couple of properties that have experienced this over the last couple of years. One was a fire and a rebuild on Conception Bay Highway. Another was on North Side Road. You know, it was very cost effective for demolition and a replacement, and you have an older area town that could be non-conforming as the standards change over the years and become updated. But what we wanted to do, we talked about internally at committee, was having a checkpoint in the application for a demolition permit. Like in that process, like that should be a prompt there in the residents' engagement with the town staff. So, okay, you're going to demolish the property. What are you going to put back? And depending on what you're going to put back, you need to be mindful of the following items.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then, you know, both town staff and residents, everyone is on the same page. So there's no surprises as
Yeah.
you get further down the line, because you have a situation where you get the demolition permit approved. Okay, knock the house down. Now I'm going to come back later on when I funds available and I'm going to apply to build a house, and someone says, well, hang on now.
You're not allowed.
You have some challenges or issues to overcome, which could be costly or prohibitive, right? So what Councillor King and I talked about with staff at the meeting was like, okay, well, you got to nip that in the bud right from the drop, right? And so that is being done.
Yeah, absolutely, follow
So
through.
this is the story on the application that Bruce, Councillor King referenced, and that's the story on the improvements, so we can make it a little bit smoother for everyone next time
Yeah.
around, because they're going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect, thank you.
And that's why it's important when you're building, as I just discussed before, is that you know the zoning before you put in your application. So it's important to come here, talk to people what you're planning on doing, and making sure that what you're proposing to build, you can build, and it meets the regulations of the present day, right? Which is
Absolutely.
basically what it is.
Excellent. Okay, so the motion has been moved by Councillor King and seconded by Councillor Windsor. All those in favor? Aye, motion carried.
The next one is located at 455 Conception Bay Highway, and it's the Star of the Sea parking lot, and it's a roadside vending. It's zoned town center. And be it resolved that the Town of Holyrood approve the above application in principle, subject to the town's municipal plan and Development Regulations. So moved.
Moved by Councillor King, seconded by Councillor Story. Any further discussion?
So do we have to get permission from Star to see with regards to that?
They
I
do.
think they already
do.
did, yes.
They do, and they
They've
have,
already
yeah.
got that done.
Yummy vegetables.
Turn.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Motion carried.
The next one is located at 8 Eagle Drive. It's proposed residential build, it's RMD, and it's on well and septic. Be it resolved that the Town of Holyrood approve the above application in principle, subject to the town's municipal plan and development regulations. So moved.
Moved by Councillor King, seconded by Deputy Mayor Woodford. Further discussion? No, regular standard build. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carried.
And the last one, it's located at 8 Sunset Drive. It is proposed residential build, it's zoned RMD, it's on well and septic. Be it resolved that the Town of Holyrood approve the above application in principle, subject to the town's municipal plan and development regulations. So moved.
Moved by Councillor King, seconded by Councillor Windsor. Further discussion? No, again, just regular standard build. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, motion carried unanimously. Okay, that's it for planning and development. Thank you very much. Will there be? Okay, so unfortunately, both our recreation and community events councillors, committee members, are absent tonight. So therefore, I'm going to no, I don't need to pass the gavel. I'm going to ask you, Deputy Mayor Woodford, if you could stand up and do the recreation and community events. You don't have to provide an update, as we know Squid Fest is coming and we all want to gather up everyone for the
Right.
29th.
Yes.
But there is a motion
Okay.
that needs to be.
Yeah, so I'm going to read the motion because I don't have the update. If I had the update, I would have
Yeah.
read it. But there is an event this weekend, so we want to be able to let everybody know to get out and get your tickets for Saturday night, Saturday night,
29th.
perfect, 29th. So there is a motion under recreation and community events. Be it resolved that the Town of Holyrood approve the Recreation and Community Services Program Coordinator to attend the Recreation NL Active Living Leadership Network All-In event 2026, naturally ingrained, being held in Mount Pearl from September 17th to the 18th, 2026. So this event brings together recreation professionals from across Newfoundland and Labrador and is centered around a theme naturally ingrained, exploring how active living and wellness can become a natural part of our everyday life in schools, workplaces, public spaces, and communities. Through presentations, roundtable discussions, demonstrations, and networking opportunities, participants will explore innovative approaches, share promising practices, and strengthen partnerships that support healthier, more active communities across the province. The cost for the registration and travel is $85. This cost would be absorbed within the recreation budget. So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Woodford, seconded by Councillor King. Any further discussion? We discussed before how important these opportunities are to go
Absolutely.
and network and meet everyone. And $85, well, you're not going to
Yeah.
get any cheaper than that.
Little or nothing.
All right, so it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. 0 contravene. And I will say we're very excited about our upcoming Squidfish Ghost Country. We have Stephen Lee Olson as our headliner. Justin Fancy will be playing. Mackenzie Critch will be playing. And we will head off tonight for Cripple Creek. They'll lead us into the night for the after party. So come out, enjoy, put on your cowboy boots, your hats, your belts, your buckles, the whole thing. And I'll see you there. Pack the horse, yeah. All right. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Woodford, for, taking care of stuff when I put you on the spot. Hey. Next up is Infrastructure and Public Works. Councillor Windsor.
Thank you, Mayor. I was just giggling to myself because I was thinking about Squidfest going country, and I was wondering if next year we could go, like Squidfest could go heavy metal.
Oh. We'll see.
Oh my God, don't mind me and my musical tastes. Okay, so Infrastructure and Public Works, we did meet during this period. There's a lot of different topics there, but all we need to talk about tonight is the water, and I will get to that in a second. But first, I want to do the motion, the gas tax motion for paving first. Let's get that out of the way, so then we can talk about the water, and that's what everyone is interested in hearing about, I'm sure. Gas tax motion. Be it resolved, the Town of Holyrood award the paving contract for Penny's Lane and Garden Road to JSH Paving for the amount of $55,775, as indicated in their response to our paving RFP. At the June 30th public meeting, Council approved the submission of a gas tax application for this paving work, which has now been approved by government, and therefore we are ready to complete the work.
So
moved.
Oh, sorry. Moved by Councillor Windsor, seconded by Councillor King. Any further discussion?
No,
No, I think we discussed that back in June 30th. Yeah.
it's a formality now.
Yeah, okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
Okay, so on the water,
Now we sit back.
so first of all, like to, without belaboring it too much, the mayor's commentary at the beginning of the meeting, acknowledging the patience and understanding of the residents, and the trials and tribulations of the residents. I know it's very frustrating. We're all human, right? I myself have had a lot of questions over the last few days. Right, Councillor King and I were back and forth on a few topics. Myself and the mayor, same. CAO, me, all of us on just email threads. A lot of things were happening fast in real time, and I'm sure the residents were getting very frustrated. Council is getting frustrated because we don't have all the information, right? And we trust our staff, but trust but verify. So I will say is that we came early tonight, right? We came early tonight for a very, very detailed debriefing and a summary, a timeline of the different activities, things that have been going on over the last number of days, which I'll try to relay to the public for the record. And what I will say is that the debriefing provided by the CAO and Director Stacey was very thorough, was detailed, and it gave me some comfort. Some of the questions that I had, I was doubting me, but it was it was a systematic manner of troubleshooting with some science behind it and record keeping. With the best, the best intentions to solve the problem for all the residents. So it's very frustrating as an individual. You're going through that, and there's problems in your home, and you have people that are trying to get their basic hygiene, the cleaning, and all the things done. But the worst outcome would be if we bottomed out the tank, and bigger issues, right? So and to echo the mayor's comments there, to thank the staff and our contractors and our consultants throughout the process, because as frustrating as it is for council and residents, I'm sure it was very hard. You put myself in their shoes, working nights, and all of us are coming at you, right? The residents are coming at you, the councillors are coming at you, the mayor's coming at you. It's not an easy spot to be in, right? So appreciate that. I was ready to come in here and drop a few bombs, but I'm very happy with what was provided. So I'll try to explain that, right? So maybe other people can understand it and be happy too. Rewind. On July 28th meeting, we talked about the piping, right? I'll say again, we do not have an issue of water supply in this town, supply being the tank and the wells, especially with the new tank. That's going to be, that was awarded at the special meeting on August 12th, and it'll be erected next summer, and the new well will be brought online. So we do not have a current water supply issue, nor will we have a future water supply issue based on those two facts. What we do have is a delivery issue, all right? Delivery being the piping system, which is very aged, 50, 60 years old plus in a lot of cases. At the July 28th meeting, I'm not going to get into that 10-page update that I gave in the shoreline did a good job reiterating the high points there. 32 kilometres of underground pipe. Quote from the last meeting. Some of this underground infrastructure is old and weak and will cause leaks in the system. We experienced 10 leaks in the 6 weeks, that point in time. Leaks at Seminary Line, Country Path, Sir Albert Walsh Drive, Penny's Lane, Burns Lane, Conception Bay Highway. And we also spoke about the improvements with the Munispecs, and we replaced piping on Tubberts Road, Penny's Lane, Hazeldale, and we plan to do Bennett'sbrook next year. And we talked about the lightning strike, which also took down the system at that point in time, July 16th, actually. So during those first early weeks of July was our big challenge. We talked about that. You know, then we came into a period of good times, right?
For a couple weeks.
Shortly lived, unfortunately, right? So bringing us to where we are now, right? Okay, so July 28th, that was that meeting. And we had those leaks repaired. We talked about all of that, and we lifted the water ban, right? Jinxed ourselves, apparently. So the ban was lifted on July 28th. On the 30th, there was a serious leak found and repaired promptly at 556 Conception Bay Highway down the valley. At the same time, we initiated a close monitoring and observation program, and staff were noticing some peculiar overnight drops in the tank, which is when the users we're not putting demand on the system. The tank should be replenishing itself, usually 4 to 5 feet a night. A foot is 8,500 gallons. Again, we've talked about that, but just want to remind it. So normally that's replenishing, but the staff noticed some peculiarities, drops over a night, which can indicate, you know, one or two things. You know, someone in the middle of the night is using a tremendous amount of water, or we have a leak or multiple leaks happening, right? So that was starting on July 30th, and paying close attention to what's going on. Public staff doing their, you know, drive around routes, observations, you know, looking for if you've seen any signs of water in the ground, that sort of thing. Not always going to see that, but sometimes you will. On August 18th, there was a leak found at 44 Seminary Line on the residential side of the curb stop. And at that point in time, the tank was at 15 feet. Okay? August 22nd, so this is now like last week, right? So this is when it really started off now, last week, right? We brought in a consultant, RPM, who used their leak detection and ultrasound equipment on nights, right? And it's done at night for reasons. There's no traffic, there's no noise, there's no usage for the users. Everyone's in bed. And now if we shut down the system in a logical manner by section, they can do their circuits at the town. And again, we got 32 kilometers of pipe to cover, right? So that was going on for several nights, 22nd, 23rd, 24th. And staff was going by area isolations. So you can shut down areas, right? Like there's the Godson's Road area, there's Southside Road area, there's Highland Park, there's Burns Road, there's Northside Road, there's North Arm. Now, something that we're learning out of all this, and we're going to talk about it when we get into budget consultations, but adding additional isolation valves would you'd be able to break the town piping network into smaller sections, which would make those isolations and troubleshooting easier in the future. It'd make the leak detection easier in the future, and you can shut down smaller areas at a time, impacting less residents at a time. That's really important, and again, that's something that we got to do in the future. But I'll go back to the timeline again. On August 23rd, there was a leak found at 665 Conception Bay Highway, and that one's important because that's in a high pressure zone. And high pressure, high volume water loss. So there's a ton of water came out. That morning, tank was at 8 feet, and overnight it was as low as 5 feet. And that's the lowest I remember it being since like the 5 years I've been on council, 5 feet. So at that point, it's very alarming, right? Because if we bottom out that tank now, we have no pressure delivery to the entire town. So it was very concerning. Leak was repaired. On the 24th, there's a change in strategy for the shutoffs. And so this is the notice that came out. It said, okay, at 8 p.m. we're doing the shutoff. And during that time period overnight, They were doing isolations in 20-minute intervals, right? So different sort of methodology, and I'll add, some of this was in consultation with CBCL Engineering. This is not just our public town staff doing what they feel is best, right? And flying by the seat of their pants, want a better term. Like, they were consulting the CBCL engineers, who were the ones who had helped us with our water study, and consulting with RPM, who are all over the province doing this exact type of work in other municipalities. And it's a consultation with the provincial municipal works and infrastructure division. So the right people were being engaged to get the right advice. I didn't get a call for advice because I'm not a water expert. I know enough to be dangerous and to know that they were doing this in a systematic manner and consulting the right people. On the 24th, the town centre area, that was identified as a problem area, right? So on the 25th, today, leak was found at 35 Seminary Line, and contractor began repairs and damaged the service line. It's not very good. The water tank was shut down, and the water plant was shut down as a result, but the repairs were all completed by 3 o'clock. So that's an interesting point too. Like, this line here, from the ball field wells to Tank Road, so that line is not isolated for the testing, right? Because if you do that, now you don't have water supply to the rest of the town. So it's a scenario where, like, that leak, probably an important leak, found last, right? The important, couldn't isolate it. So the only way to be able to do that is to reconfigure the piping and have like a parallel branch line, or something that, or there's different configurations you could do. They all cost money in engineering, right? But it's something worth pursuing, because you get into a situation where you got a leak in that section and you don't know about it, you can't see it, you can't detect it, you can't isolate it, and meanwhile you're troubleshooting all the other areas of the town, right? So that's another future improvement opportunity, right? That's where we are now. And so for tonight, there's no planned shut-off. Staff are closely monitoring this. They're not off the hook yet.
Sorry,
They're still
Councillor
working
Windsor,
nights.
for the people in the back, what did you just say?
There's
No.
sorry. Yeah, there's no planned shut-off tonight. There's no planned shut-off tonight.
No planned.
Staff will decide at 11 o'clock if there is merit to shutting off a section for the purposes of, holding and rebuilding the tank, right? Couple final points, and I guess just to reiterate, 'cause we touched on it as we're going through the timeline. That's where we are right now. This is what happened. This is where we are now. So what's next, right? We have to improve the piping system. We've been tackling it every year since we've been here, like some problematic areas, but piping, clearly that's not enough, right? It's not enough. And we need to have some discussions around the table in the budget consultations and the gas tax funding about taking on more proactive piping replacements and installation of flow meters in strategic locations, additional isolation valves to break out additional sections for troubleshooting, and and GIS mapping. So those are 4 very important areas, right, that we need to tackle. Otherwise, we're just kicking the can down the road, and you get a brand new tank, and you get a new well, and there's no point in filling it up if you can't deploy it to the residents. And that's the issue. It's not the supply, it's getting it to the residents, right?
Yeah.
And improving the chances of success for the staff to find the leak faster and fix it, and minimize disruption to the residents. So that's the long and short of it, Mayor. I hope I probably missed some detail.
I don't know, that was a
but,
fantastic update.
we collectively as a group received all that detail like literally 30 minutes before the meeting started.
Yeah. Now, we were being updated, right? We were being updated.
Along the way,
regularly
yes,
along
but
the way.
to have
Yeah.
a focused deep dive timeline on the whiteboard with all the stuff, like I'll call that the war room, that the CAO and the director were utilizing over the last number of days to get all that. We can't barge in here on, in the nights and the weekends and interfere with operations like the wildfire, right?
Yeah.
So
That's right.
we're getting the updates along the way, the key points, but we can't be interfering with them. But it was a very good deep dive here tonight before the meeting.
And
Satisfied
much
with
appreciated.
that. And like we need to, can't stress enough, like we need to really like think about what we're allocating in our budget next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And obviously the voices have been heard as well. Talk about public consultation. Voices have been heard. This is what we need to put our money towards, right? Okay, thank you for that very, very detailed update. It was excellent. I hope everyone has picked it up, and thank goodness we're live streamed for, on behalf of, yeah, absolutely. But now we're recorded for posterity, so, you know, people can look us up. All right, economic development update, Deputy Mayor Woodford.
Well, good evening, everybody. I just have a brief update for economic development. We did meet on Thursday, August the 20th, with all members of the committee in attendance. There's 3 points that we're going to bring forward tonight. One is regarding the RFP that's out there for the Oceana land. The deadline for that is August the 28th. We have received 4 requests for that RFP to date. And we did have an inquiry into a submission deadline or extending the submission deadline. There has been no formal request for that, but if that comes in, the committee will look at that, entertain it, and get a decision out on whether we're going to do an extension. If so, request it. The Blue Ocean Industrial Park, of course, they're seeing some movement up there, which is great, and the owner keeps in touch with our CAO. There's several companies that are working their way through the land purchase process for their proposed business there. Of course, we look forward to those applications coming in and, you know, welcome that additional new business to the industrial park up there. It's very well warranted. And the last section that we're, you know, looking at and we discussed at our meeting was around ocean technology. I mean, our bay is our bay. It's a fantastic bay. So we continue to explore the ocean sector as a catalyst for economic development. There's significant opportunities within our town, within the ocean sector, and the focus is to remain on identifying the opportunities that are the right fit for Holyrood, and that can contribute meaningfully to the local economy. Our CAO continues to meet with developers. She provides them with the information and support necessary to explore the opportunities within our community as it relates to that ocean sector. And that's it for economic development, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. Public safety. Again, unfortunately, our 2 committee members are absent today, so I'm going to hand over the gavel. As I was in attendance for the public safety meeting, a couple of things we discussed was one, of course, the off-road vehicle safety, and talking about, again, getting the interested parties around a table and working hard to make sure that everyone who has a stake in this and who, you know, can make decisions on this will be involved. So on a sidebar to that, of course, if you are connected to Engage NL anyway, if you're on their list, their subscriber list, you will have already gotten in your email an invite to have your say in safety in the roads of Newfoundland, so legislative safety of Newfoundland. They're asking about e-bikes, e-scooters, ATVs, any off-road vehicles, basically a whole plethora of safety regulations for our roads and keeping our roads safe. So we strongly encourage every resident to engage in that consultation process. It is on our website. It has been posted on our Facebook and social media pages. So we want to encourage that. And on a side of that, we as a town, we are going to discuss during public safety exactly what measures that we agree with and think that could be supportive to that. And we will, as a town, make a submission. So we will not make the submission until we submit it to the rest of council for review, obviously, but right now our public safety committee is working on that submission and we'll have it in before the deadline. because we'll meet before the deadline. So really encouraging to see that the government is reaching out for public consultations on this, because there's a lot of people with a lot to say, right? The last thing we talked about is a community risk reduction program. And I have a statement here written by our fire chief, Trevor Rideout. The Public Safety Committee is pleased to advise council and residents that the Town of Holyrood will be moving forward with the implementation of a community risk reduction program administered through the Holyrood Fire Department. So the program is built around a simple principle. The most effective way to protect our community is to prevent emergencies before they occur. So while emergency response remains essential responsibility of the fire department, effective public safety also includes prevention, education, preparedness, and working with the community to reduce risks before emergencies occur. So through this program, the Holyrood Fire Department will take a structured, consistent, and risk-based approach to fire and life safety. This will include public education, preventive initiatives, improved emergency preparedness, and greater engagement with local businesses, organizations, and property owners. So as part of that broader approach, the department will also work with commercial property owners and operators through fire and life safety inspections where appropriate. The intent is not to create an unnecessarily burdensome inspection and enforcement process, but to identify concerns early and provide practical guidance and support safer environments for owners, employees, patrons, residents, and emergency responders. Inspection activities will be prioritized based on risk, allowing the fire department to focus resources where they can provide the greatest benefit to life safety, property protection, community resilience, and firefighter safety. The Public Safety Committee believes this program is an important step forward for Holyrood, strengthening our focus on prevention and working together to reduce both the likelihood and impact of emergencies in our community. So, in a nutshell, it is some of the things that the fire department is responsible for, but they're moving it to a broader scope of the community, and it's going to be captured into a spreadsheet of the highest risk based on a risk assessment, the highest risk businesses, and going to the owners, the operators of those businesses, and just explaining, like, this is not, again, to come in and say, you need to do this. It's like, what can we do to make this town safer? Because, you know, there are some combustible materials in town, and we want to make sure they're identified and we know how to take care of them and handle them before anything else happens. And then that includes right down to going into schools and doing during Fire Safety Prevention Week and things like that. So again, things that, you know, kind of have been ongoing, but it's going to be more formalized, and the risk assessment will be done as well. Okay. Any questions or concerns, or anyone? No? Okay. Fantastic. Oh, thank you very much. Have it back. Okay, communications update. Councillor Story.
There we go. I got it. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Crawley. On August the 18th, the Communication Committee met, and we reviewed the social media policy and the process for residential inquiries, timelines for staff and council to follow. So we had a great meeting on that, and all the communication committee was in attendance. I do have a motion to read. Motion to accept the committee's reports. Be it resolved, the Town of Holyrood accept the committee's updates and recommendations as presented in the committee's reports provided by various departments and made available to all councillors for consideration. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Story, seconded by Councillor King. Any further discussion? Councillor King shared his regrets, but shared your comments and thoughts on the communications. So you were there in spirit,
Yes,
absolutely,
you
and
were.
on paper.
That-
And on paper. Yeah. Anything else? No?
That's it.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
all those in favor? Aye, motion carried. Thank you, Councillor Story. Corporate Services and Administration, Deputy Mayor Woodford.
So the Corporate Services and Administration Committee, we met as well on August 20th, back-to-back meetings as we normally do. All members were in attendance. Under the current accounts review, we reviewed the check register. No anomalies were identified, and the report was accepted as it was presented to us. As of August 19th, the current collection rates are as follows. We've collected 85.32% of property tax, 81.02% of water and sewer tax, 83.85% of business tax, and 80.77% of fire service fees. And these collection figures are comparable to previous years at this point in time. So we're good there. We also reviewed for the first time this year our capital accounts. So our capital account is essentially the town's project activity account. It includes government-funded projects that are, cost shared at the 90-10 ratio, as well as the ECOA projects and gas tax projects. So the funds deposited into this account are provided by government. So once they receive invoices, they've been received and verified by municipal infrastructure. The funds are then transferred to the town to make the required payment. As a result, this account can have significant transactions, particularly when the contractor and provincial invoices are processed. So for the period from January 1st to August 19th, 2026, the capital expenditures totaled $1,279,809.16. And a large amount of that was under the 90-10 cost share ratio. So basically, our portion of that was very small. Very small. So these expenditures included sewer infrastructure maintenance and removal, sewer upgrades and engineering, the festival ground upgrades, well drilling and associated engineering, the washroom upgrade, materials and labor, and recreational facility improvements. So it was a lot of the projects that we had this year. So that report was reviewed. The costs and payments were confirmed by committee members. And it was accurate. We also reviewed the June and July bank reconciliation. They balanced, there were no issues identified, and we accepted both of those reports as well. So that's it for the update, unless there's any questions or concerns. No? So we'll just do a couple of motions for under accounts, be it resolved. Those accounts tabled in the amount of $408,447.35, check numbers D5768 to D5911 and 48407 to 48498 be approved for payment from the general account. So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Woodford, seconded by Councillor King. Okay, any further questions or discussion?
And that's from our current account.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And motion carried.
And under our capital accounts, be it resolved, those accounts tabled in the amount of $1,279,809.16, check numbers 412 to 429, covering a period of January 1st, 2026 to August 19th, 2026, be approved for payment from the capital account. So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Woodford, seconded by Councillor Story. Any other discussion? No, a lot of big projects in there.
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried unanimously.
And our bank book balance is $2,226.35.
Yeah, you can see
It
the
is.
fluctuation, right? All right, thank you, Deputy Mayor Woodford. All right, so now we'll get ready to do our new business go around. I said most, but I do, I'm just saying, I'm not allowed to end it, or I won't end it, is that we're back to school. So be careful of all those kids being back on the streets. We're not back to school yet, sorry, I shouldn't say that, but before we meet again. Okay, Deputy Mayor Woodford?
wanted to reiterate what everyone mentioned around the table tonight. A thank you to our CAO, our Director Stacy, the staff here in the building. It's not just, those two, it's everyone here in the building that's been putting in extra time. Our Public Works, who have been walking the roads. Literally walking the roads at night trying to find leaks. And as you said, all of our contractors and everything that come at a moment's notice. Thank you, thank you, thank you, because we would not be where we are right now without them. Even though we know you take the brunt of it all from our residents and from us at times, but know that we appreciate you, we understand what you're doing, we have confidence in what you're doing. So thank you very much.
And we did not have to declare a state of emergency.
No, we did not.
That's important, right? It's important. Okay. As of right now, we haven't.
I just want to reiterate what the deputy mayor said, because I had it in my notes, and I also passed it along. Yes, absolutely. People are walking the roads. I know they were down by my place yesterday, and we had a great chat, and the people are doing the best that they can under circumstances, and that's all that anybody could ask for, right? You can't, you got to find a leak before you can fix it. As simple as that. And I just want to also say, with regards to Councillor Windsor, it was an excellent presentation, and hopefully people will understand, as we talked about at the last public meeting, there's no shortage of water here. And when we build that, when that new tank is installed and the new well is there, that will add more capacity to the water system. But like you were saying, the question is getting it from the tank down to 111 Conception Bay Highway without having it go into the woods, right? And that does it. And we should invest in new technology, right? It's the 21st century. And if there's stuff out there that can detect leaks and these different things in a much shorter period of time, then that's the kind of stuff that we should be investing our money in. We also have to look at the fact that the stuff that's in the ground, that's transporting the water from the tank to everybody's homes, is old, right? And some of it is very old. And you're talking about 50, 60, 70 years that's been in the ground, and stuff can only last so long. So, and it's not all going to be changed. It's not all going to be replaced in 2027 or 2028 or long into, when we're sitting in our little lawn chairs, watching TV and falling asleep halfway through the council meeting, right? It's going to take time, but it has to start somewhere. Right? And I look at what we're doing is almost like every council over the past 20 or 30 years is like Russian roulette. When you put the thing in and click, click, click. Well, now, today, this month, the bullet is in the chamber, and we're the people that are going to get it.
Yeah.
So the onus is on us starting now into the future to make sure that this council, the next council, and council beyond starts taking responsibility of this stuff and getting it fixed. It's going to take years. So when the budget comes out for 2027, people better be prepared, to have their say and make sure that yes, and I'm sure the people in this room and the staff will have their input as well. And which is all good. The other thing I want to talk about just very briefly is with regards to public consultations. Everything we do, pretty well almost everything we do here, we invite the residents to have their input. Budgets are a perfect example of that, where people can either, depending on whether it's a public event, or they can send in their emails, or they can do whatever, but they have an opportunity to do that. They have an opportunity. When we had the community center, people went up to the IBW building. They asked questions of the staff. They've asked questions of the people that were there, and they were able to provide people with a proper answer Well, why don't we don't have a swimming pool? Well, this is the reason why we're not having a swimming pool. Or this is the reason we're not having this or that, or why we're having that. So it's good. We did the exact same thing with the operational review. People were consulted, and that's the process. But there's timelines. And the same thing happened with the cell tower, right? We had consultations. We talked. People had an opportunity to express their views and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, there's a time limit for all these things. So if the time limit says you've got to have all this stuff done by the 30th of September, as an example, there's no good for you to come on the 30th of October with your suggestion, because all that stuff, the process has already started. And the other thing is, yes, we have a say, or some say, into a cell tower. But I can't tell a technician or a person from Bell Canada, well, you should put the cell tower up on Murray's Peak, or you should put the cell tower up on Hawks Hill, for example. Because even though people say, well, the higher up it goes, the better, that's absolutely false. That's not true at all. Actually, in some cases, it is the complete opposite of what you might think is correct. Sometimes down low works far better than up high. Okay, so we rely on these people with the expertise to say, no, we can't put your cell tower on Murray's Peak, and these are the reasons why. Right? And if you go against them, there's something definitely wrong with you. It's like taking your car into the garage and the mechanic saying, your brakes are gone. No, they're not. Well, are you a mechanic? No, but they're not gone. So who are you going to listen to? Are you going to listen to the mechanic, or are you going to listen to the guy that don't know anything? Right? So when the time comes for these consultations, you need to do it within the timelines that are set down, and are clearly said. You have to have it no later than. Okay, so I just want to reiterate that, because it's not always our process, it's the other processes that we have to follow. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councillor King. Yeah, absolutely. Councillor Story? Yes, no, I'm good. You're good? Okay. No new business. And Councillor Windsor.
Well, I wasn't going to comment on anything because I think I had enough to say these last several meetings on the water, all right? But listening to Councillor King there on the expertise, like, I just want to jump on that. Like, you 120% agree, whether it's the public consultation, the cell phone tower, the water, the planning, the legal, the finance. Like, the one thing I think we could say is our legacy when this council leaves is that we have changed. There's been a shift in mindset to, just making internal decisions, backroom decisions without consulting the public. Most importantly, consulting the experts. Yeah. Every single one of those fields involves a specialized expertise that people spent their careers honing and their education's training for. And this council trusts and reaches out to the experts. We don't have all the answers, but we know our limitations, and it's very important. Go out and get the expert, get the advice, and make the best decision you can with the information you have.
Absolutely.
Right? There's an excellent point you made on the cell phone tower, but that touches on everything that we do here.
Yes.
It has to be, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councillor Windsor. All right, the date of next meeting is September 22nd, 2026 at 6 p.m. Could I have a motion to adjourn, please? Deputy Mayor Woodford, seconded by Councillor Windsor. All those in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned.